Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Quality Coding stream. My name is John Reed, and I have my quality coding sites, but I am also a technical agile coach with Industrial Logic. You may wonder what that means, technical agile coach. It's not actually my job title. We're not particular about titles, but that seems to be the most common title for what I do. Let's see. Welcome. We've got folks here. Hello. Chime in, say hi. Let me know. Sweden in the room. Mudshark. Always good to have you. Who else is here? My little tiny little icon says there are 5 folks. Chime in, say hello. Don't be shy, even if it's your first time. If you're watching this on YouTube as a recording, give it a like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And Michaela, well, good to have you, Michaela. Awesome. And Javier. I'm glad to have you back, Javier. And sounds like you've been busy and that it's been good. Awesome. All right. Let's see. What's going on? Anyone else? There got a couple other lurkers. Maybe you stepped away. Oh, hello. Stefan from Germany, first time. Mr. Demon Loki. Welcome. Good to have you. Thank you for saying hello. You know, even if you stop after a few minutes, I'm glad you came by. And I also want to say, like, even as I get into the coding project, do feel free to ask me questions, tell me stuff, tell me interesting things. As a technical agile coach, the reason there's the technical part on the front of it is that you may have worked with agile coaches that are non-technical. That is, they are all about, like, you must scrum this way. First, Scrum is not the same thing as agility. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not the agility that I practice and try to pass on. But the technical part is that, hey, I'm a coder and I'm here to help various teams get better at their stuff. Hey, Rick. Awesome. Top of the evening to you, top of the morning to you. It's still, well, it's the end of the morning here in California. Good to have you. So, yeah, go ahead, Javier, even as I blabber on. Question regarding testing, verifying presented view controllers that your view controller is not explicitly presenting. My example would be a message compose view controller, which, if you're unfamiliar, presents a modal view controller to send a text message using messages. I have used that. Though I call it from my VC, it's actually presented by my root VC. So should I worry about testing this at all? PS presentation verifier did not work. Oh, huh. I'm kind of surprised that presentation verifier didn't work, because you still create the compose view. I think it depends how you show the compose view, but if you call present, wait, it's actually presented by my root. So what I'm wondering is, like, well, who's doing the presenting? If it's your code doing the presenting, then I'm curious why presentation verifier wouldn't work. But if something else is calling the present, I would still think the presentation verifier would work. Okay. So you've got something else actually presenting it. Yeah. So I guess at that point, what I would test, I think I wouldn't worry about the actual presentation of it then. That I would check through some other means. For example, through a UI test. But I would microtest the heck out of, did I create the message compose view controller correctly? Am I sending it all the right stuff? But as far as like having it fire off, then if I wouldn't worry about it. And this is a good question in general. It's like how much do I try to microtest or unit test everything? And the answer is, well, I want to get more. I would love to have more, but I need to make progress. And I want tests that serve me. I don't want to labor for the tests. I want the tests to serve me. So there comes a point where and this may be a point. I haven't done message compose in some time, so I'd have to look at it. There comes a point where it's like, you know what? This is a boundary. This is now my code presenting, going beyond the architectural boundary, and at that point, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to test the heck out of the inside of my box and be done with it. Okay, so it makes sense. Still trying to get better at identifying granularity and being okay without 100% code coverage. Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Because I do love to increase my code coverage, but I don't sweat it a whole lot. I mean, you know me. If I can find a trick, I'll or create a trick, and this presentation verifier and stuff like that. These are all tricks. I will use them, but the main goal is to have confidence and feedback immediately. If I can't get that immediately, I'll settle for a longer feedback of a UI test or some other type of acceptance test. And don't have many UI tests, folks. Like, keep them to bare minimum. In particular, you don't want to use UI tests to test your business logic, right? You should already have that all tested. The only point of a UI test is, does it all work together? End to end in mostly probably a single happy flow. So, Michaela, what do you use for CI/CD to run your tests automatically? It's whatever. I don't have many projects, and all I have up is GitHub. So I use GitHub Actions. Those have been very nice. I actually have actions. This might be kind of interesting to show you. Let's see here. We go to GitHub, make sure I'm signed in as the right person. So on the project that we're converting here for this stream, this is View Controller Presentation Spy. I have GitHub Actions. And if I look at like the build actions, this is an interesting thing I'll tell you about in just a second. This is what I have. let's see, that might be semi-visible. I try to make things big enough for you to see. But I have a matrix of building the, what looks like, I can't quite read it, but it build without tests. Okay, so I'm building without tests, two different versions. One is just like, can I build the library by itself? Can I build the ObjectiveC code, the ObjectiveC demo code? I build and test, but it looks like I'm only building and testing the Swift version. I may want to tighten that up, and I think the reason I turned off the ObjectiveC tests was that it was messing up my coverage reporting. But I may, now that I'm on GitHub Actions, that might be something for me to reinstate. I build a Carthage and I do a spec of the CocoaPod. I do a linting of the CocoaPod spec, and then this is an interesting new one that I just added because I pair every week on a different project, and Llewellyn Falco showed me how to set up Dependabot and to have it auto merge. Dependabot is a thing that does like security updates, and it doesn't know anything about Swift or Swift Package Manager yet. I'm hoping that someday it will. However, because I have various actions, and these are all written in YAML, if we look at my commits, you can see Dependabot actually made a commit to update my YAML because it was out of date. It was using an old version of checkout, and it's like, whoop, there, you really ought to use a new version. And it updated it for me. So that's what I do, but of course, everyone, you use whatever you have, and depends on your team, etc., etc. Anyway, I do like the idea of getting Dependabot involved. Again, for Swift, it matters a little less. But the reality is that not all of my code that is exposed, that is a security like point, is ObjectiveC or Swift. It's also my infrastructure. And I want to make sure that my infrastructure is safe and up to date. So it does it for me. I don't even have to do it anymore. It did it automatically. And Demon Loki says, you've used Dependabot for web projects before, and it is pretty powerful. I don't even know how powerful it is because I've done very little like non-iOS or non-iOS stuff in the past many years. So very cool. Wouldn't it be possible to write Dependabot integration with Swift Package Manager? There is actually this is a thing I noticed, there's discussion about it. Yes. I think that it is on their list of things to do, whoever they is. So yeah, wouldn't that be nice to have your packages like update, especially if there are security problems that you're like, we don't want to get caught unawares. We want to bump up our versions as automatically if possible. And if not, have it fire off a pull request and say, your thing is out of date. I can't update it because the API is changed, but you ought to look into it. All right. Cool discussion. We can keep talking, of course. I don't mind. But as we do, I want to present a little context for folks who are new. So on this project, there is a request to make it, have it be a Swift Package Manager version. But because it is written in both Objective-C and Swift Package Manager frowns on mixing languages, I don't know why. In order to do this, I need to convert Objective-C to Swift. In order to do this, this is called a discovery tree. And it is a way to visualize work that was invented for a process called Fast Agile. I would love to do a Fast Agile work in a Fast Agile environment someday. The way Fast Agile works, from what I understand, is you get everyone together, you figure out the work, you do dynamic reteaming, and you work in iterations of 2 days. Like, for just 2 days, we're going to work together. Here are our teams. Go, blah, 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 blah. It's like, why not make it faster? And why do a bunch of tracking? Why estimate? Why not just figure out what's next? So in the Objective-C to Swift conversion, there are 3 verifiers in this library of mine. A thing to verify alerts, a thing to verify presented view controllers, and a thing to verify how view controllers are dismissed. And rather than break out all the subtasks up front, that's waste. Instead, we say, we know we need to do these things, so we're not going to look into them right now. Instead, I'm going to do the thing with the most value first, which is the alert verifier. That's the reason, that was the first one I wrote. These other 2 came along later. And as part of the alert verifier, we spent some time working on the interception of UIAlertController and finally got that done. There was a whole bunch of stuff under here in a giant tree. Another thing about the discovery tree is that as soon as an entire layer is done, you delete it. So all the work under here, we don't need to know about anymore. All we need to know is that next is UIAlertAction, and that's why it has this symbol. On real cards, there is another way to mark them using marker to add like a couple border things, and then when it's done, cross them out. So let's see what we got in UIAlertAction. Fresh, clean slate. I'm going to rerun tests to confirm that all is well. And let's look at UIAlertAction. And Objective-C. Objective-C. And what I remember from our brief time is that we have a single associated object, so that, I need to figure out how to sneeze. And wondering where my mute controls are, except the sneeze is passed, so you're spared. I don't remember where I set up my mute on this new controller. Thankfully, the sneeze has passed. And what are we shoving in to this associated object? We're shoving in just getting acquainted here. Let me start from the top down. What we swizzle about it is that we replace action with title. Which is that. Oh, actions, right. So these are the essentially the buttons in an alert, right? It's got a title, has a style, and it has a closure. And I want to capture these as you create them, or as you shove these into a UI alert, so that we can query it and so that we can fire off the handler and say, perform the action for OK. Like, pretend you hit the OK button. Everything about this is to say, pretend we showed an alert, and now pretend we hit the OK button, and let's see what happens. So that's the handler. The handler gets shoved in as the associated object. And then when we get the I'm just trying to remember here how all this works. And here's our code. So I think what we need to do, and this looks much simpler, much smaller. We don't need a bunch of things. We just need one object that we shove away. So let me start to do this in the tree here. Like, what do we got? We've got the action. Oh, everything else about the action we don't need to mock. It is only the handler. That's the only thing we hold on to specially. So this is an associated object. This is scribbling right now. Make associated. Actually, I don't need to make a special associated object. I just need to have one thing in there. And I need to shove the action in there. All right. I'm not sure how this is going to fall out. I'm just jotting these down. As things to look at. And it may be that these are actually just a single item. It may be small enough that we can do it in a single step. So let's start to convert things now to Swift and try to figure out where are the leaves. Like, I don't. So this is essentially save action. I'm not sure I need this anymore. We'll see. We'll start. If we discover more things, we'll add them on. Let's see if we can't do some swizzling. Let's create a file. This will be UI alert action plus QCO mock as a Swift file. And Is everything in here an extension? Yes, it is, I think. Not quite. Sorry about the muddling here. For some time, we were working in another area. Okay, so there's the swizzling. Okay, we need to move each of these. And this is all in an extension. That's what this is. So we need to move the swizzling. Let's start this. Doop. Come out of here. See if we can't move the swizzling first. And let's see what it looked like for UIAlertController. Is what's left in here? Oh, that's a UIAlertController. Here's our what it looked like here. So we want something like this. This is obviously not what we want, but I'm just slapping it in. And I'm going to call it Swizzle 2. It's just so it doesn't clash with the old name. And this is going to do some stuff. What's it going to do? Let me split the window so we can see better. Split down. All right, we replace class method of action with title. What even is this? The hardest part, I think, of swizzling is finding the proper name as it changes over in the Swift side. Hey, Michaela, thanks for stopping by. Take care. Hope to see you again. Let's see what it gives us in terms of, it's probably, oh, there it is, init with title, style, and handler. I don't know why it didn't fill it in way here. All right, so this goes in here and it's going to be like that, I think. And let's mock this to it's not finding this. And that's probably because we need to expose it. Correct. It's not exposed. So when we look in the header file, remember in ObjectiveC we have methods in an implementation, but the interface is defined in a header file, and if it's not defined in the header file, well, it's kind of hidden. So let me say declare method in interface. Gosh, I miss let me undo this a second here. Hey, Demon Loki also heading out. Has been very interesting. Thanks for coming by. It's good to have you, and have a great evening, and hope to see you again. It's good to have folks come by, even for a little bit. I totally understand. I'm the one invested here, and you've got things to do. I've got things to do. All right. So, a nice thing that app code shows for Objective-C code is these arrows. They let you switch between the definition and the declaration. Here, there are no arrows, and that shows that it has an implementation, but it's not in the header. So as I say, declare it in the interface, whoop, the arrows appear. And we can see this. It actually appears here in this line. Whoops, and IDE, I'm using the EAP, the beta version of app code. And so thankfully I can just say, well, a problem occurred. Please report that. And they should be able to get to it now. All right, so hopefully it's not appearing. Let me try to build. Why isn't it appearing yet? Let's go to the other. Just see how it looks here. Of course, here it's all been moved over to Swift now, but it sure looks like the idea is the same. So I'm not sure why it's failing to build. We're trying to move in small steps here, but why is it failing to build? Don't you also need to make it public? It could be, you could be right. That is, maybe it is in the, I need to add it. I bet I need to add this UI alert action plus QCO mock to something about the way the project is defined. Let's see. Like, is it not in here? Ah, wait, I've got UI alert action. So it is already included in the umbrella header, which I was wondering about, but evidently it's there. And there's no real public private in Objective-C. Why is it not picking it up? All right, let's get back here. Let's see this again. Boop, boop, boop. The hardest part is getting started. we did all this before. I wonder if I look in our history, if there's anything useful. Way, way, way back. So if we look for, specifically for any stuff about UIAlertController Swizzling, maybe there's something in here. How far back? When did we start this series? Okay, that's too far back. Part 1 of UIAlertController Swizzle. Let me see if I can't find what's going on here. Okay, so there we added it so that it would be visible. There it's exposed. Where it wasn't exposed before. And it looks like I started just by calling the old Swizzle thing, but then we've got it working in one shot. Of course, who knows how much pain we went through to get there. All right, this is not turning up anything right away. Darn it. What gives? What gives? Is it that, I don't know. Swizzle now works. Let's have a look. Thank you, Javier, for this idea. I do remember this, that we had to swizzle it at the right layer, that basically even if we had to swizzle it not on NSObject, but on UIAlertController. So good to keep in mind. Here, why can't it find it? Like if I call UIAlertAction dot, it can see some things. Okay, so it's able to see some things, but not everything. What's the deal? And having it visible in here should make it visible. You know what? You are calling UIAlertController, it looks like. Oh. Oh crap. That's a good catch there. I don't think it solves our problem, but oh, good call. Good catch. Very awesome. Right, we can call the old one. So this is silly, but I imagine this would work. If I change the thing that calls there it is. Let's see if this works. Oops. Something non-nullable. Well, that's already a different result, and maybe I need to. Maybe there's something about this signature that's wrong. Nullable conflicts with existing specifier non-null. Yow. And it's got this warning that it recurses infinitely, which I'm like, why? It sure looks like it's recursive, but I know it works. All these things. All right, let's look at this handler here. The handler is not, let's see if there's anything about nullability up here. Way up at the top. Okay, so it's assume non-null. Maybe this is conflicting. All right. I think I need to take a step back. Step back further. We're going to stick with the old SWIZZLING, and this is not working. Because I'm trying to call it from Swift. What the heck? What have I even done that is now causing this error? Ay. All right. At this point, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to git reset hard. Doggone it. Because I'm not sure where the error was introduced, because you recall I did start by running all tests, which pass. So there's some step I took which messed things up. So let's try again. Revert. When in doubt, revert. So let's take smaller steps. Let's add our file, UIAlertAction plus QCO mock. So far, so good. This is going to be, should actually import UIKit, shouldn't it? If it's going to extend UIAlertAction action like that, and that should be okay. Now I'm scared, so I want to add this. UI begin to extend UI alert action in Swift. Commit this so we don't lose it. All right. Wow. I thought I would make a lot more progress today. This is just the way it goes. And in here, I created so far so good. I'm gonna amend. Actually, I won't. Don't amend. New home for alert action. Swizzling. This is an empty home so far. All right, so far so good. And if this calls alert action now it doesn't find the other one. Why not? Why can't it see this? What's the warning here? Not implemented? Wow. No idea quite what's going on yet. Steps, steps, steps. Moving in small steps, but it's like something was able to read the ObjectiveC stuff from Swift before, and then it got really confused, and now it's not picking up these. But it is in here, right? Yes. UI alert action header. That's where we are. Do I restart? What the heck? I've got nothing to lose. I have no idea. And maybe, do I try the non-beta? Going back to the release version. Let's make sure that this is visible nicely for you folks. So don't use the Darkula theme, use Xcode Dark. And let's try this again. Size it so that it fits. And it's indexing. While it indexes, we'll give it another crank of the test. Yeah, it wasn't seeing what I expected to see. Like it wasn't able to see anything in here. I'm just going to let it keep indexing and building its maps and so forth. Building symbols. Updating symbols. There it goes. Saving symbols. All right. So if I call UI alert action dot. Okay, there it is. Don't know why. Let's just have the new one call the old one. Nothing is calling this yet. All right. And if got confused when I reverted. Maybe. So let's try that. Okay. Maybe it was because I'm on the beta and something got messed up. I may check that out later to see if it's something, if that's true, and then I can share that with JetBrains. Because I am now calling QCO mock Swizzle 2 instead of Swizzle, and it's working. Maybe that's what I get for living on the bleeding edge. Could be. We will see. So if we now go here, let's see if we can't get this. Yeah, let's just leave it there for a second. And say UI alert action. And this is going to swizzle title style handler. Let me just grab that. A title style handler. And here's the question. Will it find the other one? There. QCO mock action with title. Let's try that. Expose it. So I declare it in the interface. Okay. I think I got bit by the AppCode beta. So progress. So now the question is, will this still work? Build failed. Action with title? Maybe it's... No. What's the happening? I am not sure what the error is. This is something that happens occasionally for me. That app code, as much as I love it, sometimes it doesn't show all the errors I want. Cannot still, oh. It's okay, I'll come over here. Sorry, this is so teeny tiny. Maybe I can make it bigger for you. No, to make it bigger if I can. Well, that is bigger. I use this thing called a command called Z. It's not built into Fish. It actually comes from some other shell. Like I think it was actually a ZShell thing. I never used it in ZShell, but it's got like smart remembering of things you've referred to in the past. And let's see, we've got the Swift sample. That's got the project I want, so I fire off XC. That's my little thing. I am resorting to Xcode. Sometimes I do. Theme. Again, trying to get it nice and big for you. That looks like it. All right. And let's go with that. And let's see if we can't build and get some sort of error. Okay, build failed. Oh. There. Now here it looks like the beta is actually showing us something more important, that the release version of AppCode is missing. I'm getting this again, this error about nullability not matching. So let me set it back. Oh, now is it really angry at me? Doggone. Oh, now it's really angry. There's something like Xcode is, I think it didn't notice an area of code until we referred to it from Swift, and now it's like the nullability doesn't match. Okay, let's see if we can't fix it forward. Shoot. So this is the alert action. I do want to keep this there. Here it doesn't, oh. Here it doesn't say nullable. Yes, 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 I think I may have stumbled upon yet another app code letting me down. Look at this. This doesn't match. Oh, today is app code disappoint day. Like that. Today is, looks like, there we go. Okay. Oops. I didn't mean to fire up too many versions of app code all at the same time. Get out of here. Let's go to this one. Okay. I'm gonna check this in because this is a fix of the declared header was wrong, right? Oh, it's not really a fix. I wasn't declaring it before. So it's the fact that I was declaring it at all. Thank you, Javier. This is expose action factory method. Woo! Okay, so that was a bit of a learning thing for me, is that the automatic generation, yeah, the original definition has nullable in there, and I can see this was not changed because it's not showing any sort of annotation about change. Of course, I just checked it in, so who knows. I'm positive this was here. But unfortunately, me and my smugness saying, look at it, generate automatically the definition for me, it failed to do so. It failed to bring over the nullable. So that's actually, this is a bug I can file. I'm going to make a quick note to myself. File bug on nullable interface. And it could possibly be, like, I wonder if this is throwing it off. If I get rid of these macros that say, let's just do this real fast. If I say generate this in the interface, and let's have a look at the two. Nope, it is not sticking nullable in there. So glad we got it. I am glad. That was quite the puzzle. With that, let's see if we can't take care of this. Yay. All right. We've got Swizzle 2. Whew. This was harder than expected. So now this is IDE bugs. Learning to work around those. What a pain. Okay, so now we've got Swizzle 2. This is called from here. And I'd like to rename it. And get rid of this one, which is no longer called. So I should be able to safe delete that, which deletes it from the header and the implementation. And this will be our first step of conversion of this new slice of the project. Okay, so this is Swizzle. Right, and finally, with that in place, I can rename. And that's good. Yay! Yeah, app code. Well, the thing with unit tests is they never prove the absence of bugs. I've had this. If you've ever worked with unit tests on your own, you know, you've experienced the thing where it's like, this is all tested, but it still has a bug. What that shows is that you found a missing test. Actually, let me point out to you an article I just wrote. If you subscribe to my my blog, I already sent this to you. But if we go to the Industrial Logic blog, Industrial Logic is the company I work for. We are a coaching company, and look at that. That's my face. That's my name. And it's my first blog post for a company. I'll share this because we had a defect. And so the next thing that we need is like, how could we have automatically detected this bug? Well, it's by writing the missing test. So I should be able to now provide to JetBrains an example, and then they would create a test and TDD it, I'm sure. So, took a little longer, but good progress, and thanks for sticking around, going over time as we delved into the mysteries of tripping over our shoelaces. There were a couple things. There was the generation of the header was incorrect. And then when I switched to old app code or shipping app code, it didn't show me the error properly. The beta, the EAP, whatever that stands for, something early access program. The early access program does show the error. And so it doesn't look like this is a regression. I'm going to stick with the actual, the latest bleeding edge after all. What we found is a deeper underlying problem that's across all of app code, and this should get them safe. Rick asks a question, is Swizzling safe for production code? What if the names get changed? Well, I'm swizzling my own code. No. I'm swizzling Apple's code. They are not going to change the name. I guarantee they are not going to change the name. And if they do, they will deprecate it first and offer a new API, and then I would jump through those hoops. And so hope that helps explain that. Basically, as long as you're exactly right. If the name changed, that would be a problem. That would totally be a problem. Woo! Good stuff. Always a little scary for me. This is live code, baby, where you see all my trips and stumbles that you don't normally get to see unless I'm actually broadcasting, streaming it to you. Thanks for joining in. If, again, a reminder for anyone who happens to be watching this on YouTube, give it a like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get the notifications, because if you've watched this far, it must be halfway decent. I don't expect everyone to watch all of everything, nor do I expect everyone to join for the entire session. So I'm always glad to have folks come by, learn new stuff, even if you can only come for a few minutes or for the half hour. That was good to have those other folks, wasn't it? Thank you for coming, and you take care. I'll see you. I should see you next week. Yeah. All right. Peace.